What's up, first graders, and welcome back to another chapter of Junie B. Jones' Cheater Pants. Last time we read chapter 5, which is where Junie B. Jones had to bring the note that she got from Mr. Scary home to her parents to have them sign. And they weren't mad at her, but they still had to have a conversation about what cheating was, and Junie B. Jones wasn't a big fan of that. Today, we're going to read chapter 6, which is called Tin Can. The next morning, I sat next to Herb on the bus. I sit next to him every single day, on account of that's what bestest friends automatically do. Herb started talking about his new dog, Dilly, only I couldn't even pay attention that good, because how can you talk about Dilly when you've still got a note from your teacher in your pocket? Mother and Daddy had signed that dumb thing, and now I had to take it back to Mr. Scary. I slumped way down in my seat. School was not being fun these days. I looked at Herb. I wish I could tell him about my problem, only what if he didn't like cheaters, and he found out that I was one? And then he didn't like me either. I thought and thought real hard. Then finally I took a deep breath and I decided to risk it. I leaned in real close to his ear and I whispered to him my very secret. Okay, here's the situation, Herb, I said. I'm in a little bit of trouble at school. Only I'm really not bad, I promise. It's just that yesterday I accidentally did something wrong, and I don't actually want to tell you what it was, or else you might not like me anymore. Herb looked at me and shrugged. You copied May's homework when she was in the office, he said. I did a gasp at that, boy, because how did he know that private information? I scratched my head. But, how did you even... Herb interrupted me. I saw you, he said. Lenny and Jose saw you too. You're a terrible sneak, Junie B. Really terrible, I mean. I did a little frown. That was not a compliment, possibly. Herb patted my arm. Don't worry, we still like you, he said. Just don't copy May's homework anymore, and then you won't get in any more trouble. I nodded my head. Then I patted him back, and then that Herb is good for me, I think. Me and Herbert walked to room 1 together. Then we stopped right in our footsteps because wow. The whole room looked different, I tell you. Instead of being in rows, all of the desks were arranged in groups of circles. We looked at the back to see where we sit. There were 5 desks in our group. May was already in her seat. And here's the picture of their classroom. All their desks are in circles now. That seems like fun to have desks. She was cleaning her desktop with a moist towelette. Just then, Lenny and Jose walked in behind us. Whoa, said Lenny. What's going on here, said Jose. Mr. Scary told us to please find our desks, and he would explain this in a minute. All of us went back and sat down. Sitting in a circle feels friendly. We waved and smiled at each other, only not May. She looked smuggy at us. I already know why we're sitting like this, she said. I was the first one here this morning, and when you're first, you get to know stuff. Jose stared at her moist towelette. He made the cuckoo sign. Just then, Mr. Scary went to the board and he wrote a weird word. Boys and girls, this morning we're going to be doing a poetry assignment, he said. That's why I arranged your desks like this. I want you to be able to talk over your thoughts and share ideas. He pointed at the weird word. It's spelled Cinquain. Does anybody know, or does anybody want to try and pronounce this word, he said? Does anybody want to try and sound it out? May jumped right up. Tin can, she shouted. It's pronounced tin can. She grinned real delighted. I know it's tin cane because you told me this morning, remember? I was the first one here, and I saw you write that on the board. And you told me it's pronounced tin can. Mr. Scary looked puzzled at her. Gee, I'm sorry, May, but it's not tin can, he said. You must not have heard me correctly. This word is pronounced like sin and cane. Sin cane. May crossed her arms. No, she said. I'm sure that's not what you told me. You said it was tin can, Mr. Scary. You know you did. Mr. Scary frowned. No, May, I didn't, he said. Now, please take your seat. May sat down in a huff. She put her head on her desk and hid under her sweater. Mr. Scary went back to the board. A cinquain is a poem that has 5 lines, he said, and each line has its own special rule. He wrote the 5 rules. First line is 1 word, which is the title. The second line has 2 words that describe the title. The third line has 3 action words about the title. The fourth line is 4 words that express a thought or feeling about the title. And the fifth line is 1 word that means the same thing as the title. After that, he wrote a cinquain for us to see. It was a poem called Pickle. Pickle. Bumpy, lumpy. Crunching, munching, lunching. Cucumbers make you pucker. Gherkin. Gherkin is a type of pickle. I laughed at that crazy thing, because whoever thought of a pickle poem? Writing a cinquain is fun, I said. This assignment will be a breeze, I think. Mr. Scary smiled. Well, sometimes poems come very easily, Junie B, and other times they don't. But if you share words and ideas with each other, you can really help spark your imaginations, he said. He looked all around. In fact, I thought it might be fun for some of you to write your poem as a team, he said. May quick came out from under her sweater at that news. She looked at our group. Okay, fine. I'll be the team leader, she told us. After that, she made a mean face at Mr. Scary, and she took out her pencil. I know just what we're going to write about, too, she said kind of growly. She waved her hands at us. You 4 guys just talk about your normal stupid stuff, and I'll write the poem, she said. I'll read it to you when I get done. Lenny looked disappointed. But Mr. Scary said we should write our poem together, May, he said. See, said Jose. We're supposed to share thoughts and ideas, remember? May threw her hands in the air. I knew it, she said. I knew working as a team wouldn't work. Fine, you guys just write your own dumb poem, and I'll write mine. After that, she took her pencil and paper, and she hid under her sweater again. All of us looked at each other and shrugged, and then we started to work. I tapped my chin. It says the first line needs to be the title, I said, so maybe the title should come first. May peeked her eyes out at me. Duh, she said. Jose covered her up again. Just then, Herb raised his hand. Hey, I know, he said. Since Mr. Scary wrote a pickle poem, why don't we write one about an olive? He leaned back in his chair and did a happy thumbs up. No one did a thumbs up back. 'Cause what kind of dumb idea was that? An olive, I said. I hate olives, said Jose. I threw up an olive once, said Lenny. Herb looked irritated at us. I patted him. Don't be mad, I said. It's just that maybe there's something funnier to write about than an olive, that's all. See, said Jose. Like maybe we could write about soccer. Playing soccer is fun, right? Yeah, I said. Plus, riding the bus to school is fun too, right, Herb? Me and you always have fun on the bus, don't we? Lenny shook his head. But I don't ride the bus, Junie B, he said. I think we should write about something that we all know about. He thought for a second, then he clapped his hands together. I know. We could write about how all of us shampoo our hair to keep it healthy and shiny. All of us do that, right? Excuse me. After that, me and Jose and Herb just looked at him, because sometimes Lenny is off the deep end, that's why. Finally, Jose put his head on his desk. We're making this too hard, he said. Why can't we just write about something easy? Like about how all of us are friends or something. Herb smiled a little bit. Yeah, that's a good idea. We could write about the 4 of us and we could call it Friends. Jose smiled too. See, he said. Or Amigos, maybe. Just then I bounced up and down real excited, 'cause the perfect title just hit me, that's why. And it hit me right out of the clear blue sky. Pallies, I said. Let's call it Pallies. 'Cause that's what we are, right? All 4 of us are the bestest Pallies. And Pallies sounds like a cute title, don't you think? I looked at them real hopeful. Then all of my Pallies started to smile. Our poem was off to a great start. And that is the end of chapter 6. Next time we're going to read chapter 7, which is called Pallies. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.